Yo, what's up, y'all? Thanks for tuning in on our Dog Talk Tuesdays. Let's see here. Let me get over here real quick. And come on. All right, so while I go ahead and get StreamYard set up, which I should have done ahead of time. You guys feel free to share. Make sure you like. If you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. If you are on Facebook, more than likely I will not be able to see your comments. So if you go to YouTube, I'll be able to see your comments there. But more than likely I will not be able to see your comments on Facebook. Let's see, what were our topics for the day? Hold on, give me just a second. And get over here. Why is somebody tagging me in a post? Okay. Some motivational stuff. All right, here we go. Okay, so today's topics are, hold on. Come on now. I don't know why my computer's so slow, but while it is slow, Rose, what's up, man? Thanks for joining in. James Galloway, thanks for joining in. Calculated Bullies. We got Belinda Pitbull Bell in here. WKRK9, what's up, man? Thanks for joining in. King Crow, what's up, man? Thanks for joining in. Hotep Kennels is in the house. Let's see. Almost ready to be monetized. Well deserved. I don't even know how that stuff works. I got to look into all that stuff. Let's see. Donna Whitaker, what's up? Said my favorite day of the week. That's what I'm talking about. Rich's Kennels in the house. And we got Dom as usual in the house. What's up, man? Thanks for joining in. Let's see. So today's topic. Damn, why is it not starting? Come on now. Today's topics. Let's try this again. Why is my system freezing up? All right, here we go. Let's see. So today's topics. I got a bunch of requests to go over exercise and conditioning. So we're going to go over that. Getting the best, basically just getting the best out of your dog, different methods and things to think about and be observant of when you are working out your dog, conditioning your dogs involved in any type of performance. Rashard Kelly said, would an e-collar work for a hyper dog? How would you properly use it? So we'll go over that. Belinda said, what being a breeder is really about, life and death. She also said, when your dog whelps, what to let go of and what to let die, the defects that can occur. Scott Knox said, breed standards and where you see the breed. Okay, breed standards and where you see the breed in 5 years. Another one from Belinda, when a mother pushes a pup away, let it go. Another one she stated was, we should stop trying to save puppies, whether natural selection and fading syndrome, which is natural selection. She also put, we need to move past the breed standard. There is a problem if this many people are new weekly. We can't move forward if we stay stuck on. And then she also put, when should we soft cull and why we should hard cull. Ryan Sterling put, as a new breeder, how do you avoid early line/inbreeding when you only have a few dogs? Papa Joe said, when do you see the look of the breed stabilizing and becoming more consistent across the board, no matter the bloodline or kennel source? And then Wayne Barnes put, can and should unregistered bullies without a pedigree be single registered if they are proven to be American bully through DNA testing? So let's get into it. It's a bunch of questions tonight, bunch of topics. Eric Maxwell said, "What's up to everybody?" Who else we got in here? Donna Whitaker, we saw her. 998 subscribers. Come on, people. Let's help Daryl get to more on there tonight. There we go. So make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. I'm not sure how it works. I think I read something that once you have reached 1,000, you can change instead of it saying YouTube / XYZ1259. You can actually change it to Thrower Bullies. So I got to look into that. But let's go ahead and get the topics started. Woodbridge, Virginia, checking in. Hello to all. Shout out Oily Drop Bullies Law. Yeah, that was sad to hear. Definitely one of my favorite dogs in the game. From what I understand, it was shit. He's not even one of my favorite dogs. He's like Prince Charmer's. I would say definitely my top 3. Definitely 5, but I think he wiggles into my top 3. Yeah, that was sad to hear. If I'm not mistaken, it was a kidney issue that took place. Let's see, Max Temple 100. What's up, man? Thanks for joining in. All right, so first topic. Let's get to it. What was it? Can and should unregistered bullies without a pedigree be single registered if they are proven to be American bully through DNA testing? If a dog is proven to be American, now here's the problem with that. Wayne, whose topic this was. One, from what I understand, there haven't been enough markers set for the American bully. So therefore, dogs are getting registered that really aren't, there's not enough to say this is an American bully, this is not. This is an American bully, this is a pit bull, or this is an Amstaff and a cross between a Mastiff, but this is an American bully. So apparently there aren't really enough markers there, yet, so that it is being proven American bully is more difficult. And you got to remember, so many different breeds were used. A lot of paper hanging was done. What I would say is, it's up to the individual. I personally think if a dog does not have papers, that dog should not be bred now, or should not be registered, because the papers should be there. Now, if for whatever reason, and here's another reason I feel that way. We have dogs that we did not give papers on. And you're going to have that. As a breeder, you're going to have dogs that you don't give out papers on. And a lot of times what happens is people will say, okay, well, I'll pay this amount of money for a pet home dog. And then they realize how much money they think they can make in the bully community. And next thing you know, they want their dog's paper. Well, some of them will call the breeder and pay that extra money for those papers. Some will just single register their dog. Now, because you can pet home a lot of dogs, a lot of people don't care that a dog was single registered, whether it had papers, things like that. So I personally think they need to cut the single registry. I think each of the dogs should be paper. On the flip side, I get why they do single register dogs, and that is due to the fact we need a large variety of dogs and blood within the breed. This is also a breed where you just have a lack of professionalism, breeders not getting papers to their clients, all kinds of issues. And if I bought a dog, but this breeder didn't get me my papers for whatever reasons, then I should have the avenue to get that dog registered. A lot of times as breeders, we like to pretend, somebody says, hey, I don't have papers for my dog. How can I get it registered? Automatically, as a breeder, you think you don't need to be worrying about registering because otherwise the breeder would have gave you those papers. On the flip side, we have to remember this is the bully game. A lot of dumb stuff gets done. A lot of lack of professionalism takes place. You know, so without knowing the situation, it is really hard to say. So I think that, you know, the whole stud books being open and single register in dogs is a twofold situation. If you can get the dog DNA tested and the test comes back stating American Bully, then I feel there shouldn't be an issue with registering the dog. No different than if I came back as poodle and it is a poodle, then why shouldn't I be able to register it with a registry as a poodle? That is that registry's job. So you know, that I don't really have a problem with it. Let me see if there's anything in the comments. Let's see here. Hotep, yes. That was sad to hear. PB finest a hey to Pitbull Bell. Let's see what Devin B, what's up? Thanks for joining in. Hit the like button, hit the share button. I always forget to say that. All those things that I forget to say to do, make sure you guys do them. Yes, he did. I think it was a kidney issue, unfortunately. You know, and I think that's something, you know, we all watching for a big will sleep soon. I think that's, you know, something, you know, I don't know the details other than it was a kidney issue. What do they call it? I forget what they call it, but it was a kidney issue from what I understand. I don't know any other details beyond that. So, you know, hopefully Heather's doing okay and she bounces back from that. Let's see, if y'all new here, hit the subscribe button. Let's see here. Jose Camarillo, what's up, man? Thanks for joining in. Kentucky Bullies is in the house. You know, I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he was like 6, 7 years old. 6, 7 years old, and nowhere near as extreme as a lot of the other, you know, champions and grand champions. Let's see here. All right, so let's go ahead and get to the next topic. Shells, what's up? Smooth, what's up, man? Thanks for joining in. Shells is in here from New York. Let's see. Betsy's in the house. What's up, Betsy? And I think we're almost to the bottom. Mr. J's in here. What's up, brother? Thanks for joining in. Just going through you guys' comments to make sure we kind of caught up. Not where somebody see Nano Bullies. If the breed is not where it's supposed to be, why are people selling bullies for 6 to 15K? Because people want them. People want them. You created a breed that's based off looks rather than performance and ability. So therefore, you open the door to people who don't care anything about performance and ability. All they care about is looks. And as long as you got that look, then you can sell your dog for way over more than 6 to 15K. You got dogs that are going for 10, 15, 20K, 50K. So, you know, as far as, you know, a breed being where it's supposed to be, we lost the respect for breed. The society has lost the respect for breeds being what they're supposed to be. That door was opened by those hundreds of years ago by those who decided to stop breeding dogs for what they were supposed to be, which was a purpose-driven companion. So the minute somebody decided to start breeding pugs and English bulldogs and all these other things, American bullies, guess what? We opened the door for people to just buy dogs that are unproven, you know. So it is what it is, you know, and I'm going to participate. I think they're a great dog. We just want a little edge to it. Let's see here. Exactly. I saw that. We're going to get to the next comments too. Do you think Scott American Bulldog had the drive to become a I'm thinking you mean catch dog, and yes, they are very good. Scott American Bulldogs, Painter American Bulldogs, both are very good at catch work. They excel at and bite work. Now, the only thing with the Painter, the problem can be is they can be overly dog aggressive, and that can become a problem when you're out, hog catching or doing any form of hunting. But as far as the Scott American Bulldog having drive, and I think you're saying to become a bite dog, yeah, they definitely do well at it. Matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, it was Florida that started using the American Bulldogs for police. So I'm not sure if they still do, but I want to say about 10, 15 years ago they started. So I'm not sure how that went afterwards. But yeah, American Bulldog will excel at it. Every time I see the one topic anymore, it sends me into a fit. Bully Bread Kennels, what's up, man? Thanks for joining in. Riches is in the house. Slayer the Pitch said, best dog talk show out there. Thank you very much. Pitbull Bell said, Devin, the old school Scott Bulldogs were badass. They were very badass. I mean, they were one of the baddest dogs out there. Heart and Soul in from Maryland. Thanks for joining in. Raynard Wilson said, DCB Ray Wilson in here. I will subscribe and click that bell. There you go. XL Cashmere Bullies. How many productions did Prince Charmer have? I can only 2, if I'm not mistaken. So that I don't know. And I know he has 1 on the ground now. So if that's not one of the ones I'm thinking, that might be 3. So I'd say between 2 and 3 is what he's at. Watchtower Charmer was 1 month away from 8 years. Okay, so he was 1 month away from 8 years old. Okay, I didn't know that. What's up, fam? I was wondering, everybody knows that the breed is not where it needs to be. Why are breeders selling pups? Because they can get away with it. Anything people can get away with, people are going to do. Anytime you open a door, people are going to push it wider. And now you've got the internet, so it makes it 10 times worse. Because now people who have a certain amount of morals or honor, you're not going to have that. You'll have people pretending it, but they won't actually have it. So, I mean, if people can get away, you got to think about it. If you had a litter right now and all of a sudden 15 people were knocking at your door, you got a litter of 10, and all 15 of those people are like, hey, I'm willing to pay $15,000. What are you going to do? You know what I'm saying? So, people are willing to pay for it. And you got to remember, we're just getting started, because most of the world doesn't even know these dogs exist when it comes to American Bullies. So there's more people that know about American Bulldogs than know about American Bullies. And it ain't even that many people that know about American Bulldogs. So, the game is just getting started. Devin B said facts might give it a shot. She's very protective and seems like she would have the drive to do it. If you got an American Bull, I got ran off by an American Bulldog once. But yeah, if you got one that shows the drive for it, then yeah, you go for it. And the other thing is, as far as giving it the protection training, that is a great time to bond with you and your dog. So you might as well do it. A lot of protection training really is just advanced tug of war. You're just learning to turn on different things. You have somebody there that's actually baiting the dog. But it's a great way for you and your dog to bond, even if you never end up in a situation where it is needed. Prince Charmer wasn't that old. I can't say much about him except I've seen him a few times. Yeah, I think if we got into this 5 years ago, I want to say he was here. I would say he's probably anywhere between 6 and 8. I would say he's anywhere between 6 and 8, because he was one of the first dogs that caught my eye when we started, looking at bullies and how things were moving. How many times was he bred? I want to say 3. I want to say 2 to 3 times. Could have been more though. I don't know. And Heather wasn't, one of those into, promoting him, as a stud and all that a lot. I think if you hit her up, then she was cool with it. But other than her promoting him, she promoted his wins, but I don't remember her really promoting him as a stud. I can only think of, I think, 2 litters, possibly 3. Hell no, I don't think so, because people are trying to buy cheap dogs, trying to get them registered to sell it for the most. Exactly. And see, and that becomes the problem. That becomes a problem, you know. And that's why there's a catch-22 to all things when it comes to dogs. Nano says, I live in a small town and I see bully strays everywhere. It sucks. See, that's sad. Pitbull Bell said, Watchtower, no way he was that old. Do they pay for breeding rights? Bully said that they pay for breeding rights. That I'm not sure. Slayer the Pit said, let get one more subscriber. Keep sharing this out there. There you go. Make sure if you guys are tuned in that you are subscribing. Share it if you're on Facebook. If you're on YouTube, make sure to subscribe. Also, if you are on Facebook, yeah, for whatever reasons, it's not showing me your comments. So if you're on YouTube, that's the best way for us to be able to see your comments. Let's see here. All right, let's go to the next topic. What else we got? Damn, you guys got a bunch of comments going right now. Let's see here. I'm about 10 minutes behind. So let's go ahead. Next topic. So that one was can and should unregistered bullies without should you be able to can and should unregistered bullies without a pedigree be single registered if they are proven to be American bully through DNA testing? As far as it goes with our breed, I would say yes, they should be able to, because we do need more variety of blood within this breed, especially since so many dogs are 10 times this, 50 times that. The other flip side of it is, like people were saying, you got people who will register dogs that shouldn't be registered and will register anything, or will pay cheap for no paperwork and then get there and then go ahead and single register the dog when the dog should have been pet home. So there's always going to be a catch-22 with it. Second topic, Papa Joe said, when do you see the look of the breed stabilizing and becoming more consistent across the board, no matter the bloodline or kennel source? I grew up on a saying that bloodlines make bloodlines make breeds consistently consistent. And I think until we have more bloodlines in this breed, we're going to lack consistency. You can put out as many standards as you want. The truth is, once a dog gets popular, it is out of control of the show world. There's also people who could care less about the show world. So the show ring is not going to do anything for the breed any more than dock diving, weight pull, frisbee catching, lure coursing, any more than any of those are. Show ring is just an activity people can participate in with their dog. So as far as actually bettering the breed and consistency, that is up to the decisions of the registry. In the past, the registry didn't have to worry about it. That was a breed club's job. Now, ABKC has put themselves in a position where they function somewhat like a breed club and as a registry at the same time. The more information and the more they promote the dog, use their money to promote the dog, the more popular the dog gets for that look. So it's going to be between the breeders and it's going to be between ABKC. As breeders, we need to start creating our bloodline, because then what happens, it doesn't matter if they used a Mastiff, a Pit Bull, Amstaff, and a Chihuahua to create the dogs that you have in your yard. When you start breeding to create a bloodline, getting rid of flaws, breeding for a temperament, some type of consistency, you'll end up shaping American bullies in your yard. I may have Mastiff, Dalmatian, and Pit Bull in the dogs in my yard, but the minute I start breeding them to look like American bullies, we'll slowly see the spots from the Dalmatian fade away, and we'll make our way onto it. So until we start trying to create bloodlines within our yard, we're never going to have consistency. The only other opportunity is the fact of and there's also not going to be consistency because we haven't stated what the dog should be able to do. So when we start saying species flaws are not allowed, registries, breeders, show judges. Dog looks great, but it's got a high rear. Guess what? I can go all day looking at other breeds and not see a high rear. So therefore, your dog looks great, but it's not going to get first, second, or third place today because it's got this issue. It's cow hawk. It's got a high rear. Whatever it may be, the minute we start becoming strict on species flaws, breed flaws are one thing. Species flaws, that's a problem. The minute you start eliminating species flaws, you'll see more consistency come within our breed. Then all we have to do is worry about breed flaws, the amount of lack of substance, things like that, whether or not it has an underbite or overbite, things like that. Now we're getting into breed flaws, a gay tail or straight tail. Those are things, the amount of angulation. Those are things that when we get away from the species flaws, the breed will begin to become more consistent. When you allow species flaws, you're allowing all the traits of the other breeds that were used to stay true in our breed. So that is one of the things breeders can coming up with their own bloodlines also helps breeds become more consistent. Because then people are getting the dog from me, they're getting the dog from so-and-so, they're breeding them together, and it's a battle between bloods rather than a battle between a bunch of scatterbred dogs that happen to be in the pedigree. And then the other thing is the ABKC using the internet to its advantage and promoting what they feel the breed should be. But they've got to do it in a respectable way. And when I say respectable, I don't mean that they're not hurting feelings. I mean that they're doing the right thing, and making sure that the right thing is done, because those are two different things. So, set up the right rules that prevent any dog from being able to walk in the show ring and win. Set up the right rules for your judges so that when a dog does come in the show ring and win, it is a worthy dog. And I think that's when we'll start to see consistency. As far as how long it's going to take, I couldn't even tell you that. I would say probably give it another 10 to 20 years, I would say. And we should start seeing a little more consistency. Luckily, it's within breeders right now. The dogs really haven't hit the masses. So I'd say we got another, I'd say 10 years. That's what I would say. Ryan Sterling said, as a new breeder, how do you avoid early line/inbreeding when you only have a few dogs? Be honest with yourself. One, if you only have a few dogs, line breed, let's say you got 3 dogs. You should only be line breeding when the dogs are close to perfect, but have some small issues that need to be fixed. You should only be inbreeding when the dogs are damn near perfect in temperament and conformation. Now, you get 3 dogs, and then you have to admit to yourself, I'm going to need more dogs. You know what I mean? That's how you prevent yourself from line breeding and inbreeding too early, is admitting that if I have 2 dogs, guess what? I'm going to need another one. If I have 3 dogs, guess what? I'm going to need another one. The objective is to take your time doing it. Let that female age hit 2 years. Let that male hit 1 to 2 years. Eyeball them, see what they look like. Breed them together. Eyeball your pups. Let those pups hit 1 to 2 years. See what they look like. Now make the decision on the next dog you want to get. As long as you're not rushing things, then just take your time and you shouldn't have to line breed. But I think once you get to about anywhere to 5 to 7 dogs, you should be good with, getting everything in and line breeding and things, but you got to debate on, or you have to determine how many times you're going to go to one dog. So let's say your first thing that you want to fix is Easty Westy. So you're taking your one dog that has Easty Westy to the dog that's got the straightest feet of all the dogs in your yard. And then you pick the pup that doesn't have Easty Westy. And then now all of a sudden it becomes time to breed that pup. And you got to breed it to another dog that doesn't have Easty Westy, because now you're working on Dome or something. And then bam, all of a sudden you got Easty Westy again. you know, these are things that make it hard to say exactly, you know, when you're going to line breed and when you're going to inbreed. You may go for a period of time. You line breed when you've got everything you need in your yard, and you're not going to be forced to inbreed within 5 to 10 generations, as long as you are making that choice. So you're gonna line breed, and when you got what you need in your yard, you're gonna inbreed when you almost no longer need anything. You just need to lock in the blood that you have now. So again, to say make that kind of simpler, if I've got 3 dogs in my yard, um, I'm not gonna line breed unless one of those dogs has what I need. So if I'm breeding for a specific trait and I bred the male to the female, then I took a male from that and I bred that to the female. And then all of a sudden I realize, hey, um, there's a trait that I need that is in that male, the grandfather now. Then you're gonna go back. That's a line breed. Okay. Um, and that's also tightening your blood at the same time. But now, if all of a sudden you take that pup, and now you may be starting to concentrate the blood more quicker than you want to, because you still have other flaws, other issues to work on beyond what that first one was you were focused on. So I would say get yourself 5 to 7 dogs, um, and then start, you know, your work from there. But well, like you said, as a new breeder, how do you avoid early line breeding? You have to have enough dogs, or be willing to outcross to dogs of other yards, and your outcross your female to dogs of other yards. And when I'm saying outcross, I'm not talking about breeds. I'm talking about just going to another yard. Um, and as far as inbreeding, a lot of people inbreed because that is their plan. I look at inbreeding like squeezing a trigger. You know what I'm saying? People who squeeze the trigger always miss. You know, you're supposed to be holding it steady, slowly squeezing, and bam, when the gun goes off, it should be almost a surprise to you. Same thing with inbreeding. It should be a surprise to you. You should be looking out and saying, hey, I got everything I need. Bam, time for the inbreeding. If you decided you were going to inbreed before pups become males, before pups become adults, then you know you're not doing this the right way. You know you're not using the disciplines that are required to be a true breeder. A lot of times people have a dog. I like this dog, this male. So as soon as he has a female, I'm gonna breed her back to him. You haven't even seen the female, so therefore that decision of inbreeding shouldn't be done. Inbreeding is something you specifically do when you know and understand of the dog of the traits of the dogs that you're gonna be inbreeding. Both the male, both the female, both in temperament and both in structure. And now things are close to perfect. You're gonna inbreed to lock it in. You can line breed to tighten blood and fix things. Inbreeding should not be about fixing things. It should be about locking in the traits that you have, and then you're going to outcross. But never inbreed without with with it being planned before before the dogs from that inbreeding were born. Always inbreed, because you surprisingly have dogs that are great in your yard and both complement each other. And that's the best way to do it. You know, but if you're just planning on inbreeding and you haven't even seen how the dog structure or temperament is, that's a problem and not the way it should be done. Let me see. Next question: when should we soft cull and why we should hard cull? That came from Belinda. Soft cull, basically, for those who don't know, just means that you're going to pet home the dog. You'll have the dog spayed or neutered. Hard cull means you're putting the dog down. A hard cull should be done either through nature or by the human if the pups have, or by humans if the pups have deformities or anything that is going to affect their life. If the dog is not breed quality, That is what a soft cull is. You just pet home it and have it spayed or neutered, not till they're about 2 years old, and then that's that. You know what I mean? You make sure you don't give out papers on those dogs, and you're good from there. Mikey, put her outside, please. So that's it. Soft cull for dogs that are healthy, but just aren't breed quality. And then a hard cull for dogs whose lives are going to be hampered by the way they were born. We need to move past the breed standards. There is a problem if this many people are new weekly. We can't move forward if we stay stuck on. And you didn't finish the rest of your sentence. Let's see. Then Belinda said we should stop trying to save puppies, whether natural selection and or fading syndrome, which is natural selection. I agree. I think there are a lot of dogs that are saved. The first litter we had was 11. We did let some of them go, and then we did save others. I have mixed emotions on that. Because it depends on what you mean by saving it. You know, if you're just doing the basics like beef liver water, I think it is what it is. If you're trying to save a fading puppy by taking it to the vet, things like that, that lets you know you're trying to keep a dog alive that needs a vet to stay alive. So that's something different. So that's something that's up to the breeder. But I don't believe we should have to do a lot to keep pups alive, especially if the mother's taking care of them. Or letting them nurse. Belinda said, when a mother pushes a puppy away, was the next topic. Let it go. I agree. If a mother does not want a pup touching her, you need to let that pup go. Because she doesn't want it near her. She doesn't want it near her other pups. A lot of times, though, we make the mistake. Okay, well, I'll bottle feed it. And then you're bottle feeding something that you don't see the problems in. And the arrogance of humans, if we don't see the problem, we think anything we do is okay, because we can't see the problem. It kind of reminds you, I had a dude telling me that temperament was genotype, and I was like, no, it's phenotype. And we kept going back and forth, but I eventually was able to get him to understand phenotype is what we see. You just haven't learned to see temperament. So therefore, you've just kind of thrown it under genotype. Genotype we can't see without a microscope, pulling blood, things like that. Temperament is something we can see. It's just some of us see it better than others do. No different than anything else we see with our eyes. Some of us have better eyes than others do. But is there to be seen is there to be seen. So that's kind of how I look at that. I think a lot of times we're saving dogs because we can't see the problem, but that female, the same way they could smell cancer, diabetes, all these other issues that dogs can smell within humans. She was in tune with that with her pups. We're just not in tune with it. We haven't been given that gift. Let's see, Belinda's another topic she has: when your dog whelps, what to let go of, what to let die. The defects that can occur. I mean, the defects from keeping pups alive are numerous. That shouldn't be. And most of them go unseen because you kept this pup alive and it looked straight when it was young. I just personally believe that if you're doing anything beyond simple home remedies, especially with a lot of people in the American bully world, a lot of us are doing C-sections. So vet brings a pup out early, 1, 2, 3 days early, based off of when that egg was fertilized. And then now you're using some type of home remedy to help that pup, beef liver water, whatever it is. That I don't have a problem with. But taking the pup to the vet, to me, that's an issue. If the pup is born naturally and I'm having to give it beef liver water, I really got to question whether that's what I want to or should be doing. Let's see, another topic, what being a breeder is really about. Life and death, that's all it's about. We are producing life. A lot of people look at these dogs as products. They look at these dogs as a way of making money. Um, and the more time goes by and the less we really understand dogs, the less we'll also understand those who have dogs and just breed them for money. Those who have worked dogs and come from a working dog background will spot people out like that with no problem. Unfortunately, for those who have never worked dogs, 90% of those of us that have, look at all of y'all as in it just for the money. Because very few are breeding for temperament. They're strictly breeding the most popular look by the most popular studs. People will say, "Oh, I don't breed for money. I breed for show quality dogs." Then that's for money, because a trophy, a gold, silver trophy, a ribbon, what money, a dollar, a ribbon, all that stuff is the same. None of it has anything to do with the actual better dog. So, just like the show ring, people are always going to look down on, pet home breeders who breed for pet homes or don't have big kennels. You're always going to have those dudes with small kennels that work their dogs, and they're always going to look down on show ring breeders because guess what? You're breeding for something that has nothing to do with dogs. Dogs don't even know why they're there or what's going on. So, it is always going to be that catch-22. I think the sooner we understand that we are breeding for life, life involves health. It involves intelligence because they're dogs. It involves purpose. It involves various drives. And I think it is up to us as breeders, show ring breeders, frisbee catching breeders, weight pool breeders, pet home breeders, to start understanding these things and then breed for them. If this dog's temperament is a little bit lazy, he doesn't have the energy I would typically want associated with my yard, but he's got a beautiful color. We have to get to the point as breeders where we pass up on the color and the money that might come from the color and perfect that temperament. I did a consultation with a guy this week where we were talking about, prioritizing things. And like I told him, temperament is the hardest thing to uh, really breed for, because you're preparing a dog for what you don't know that it's ever going to come up against, or situations that you don't know that it's going to be in. Very next thing is ability, which kind of combines temperament along with structure and conformation. But like I was telling him, don't worry about color, and don't till you have mass and bone, and don't worry about mass and bone until you have conformation, and don't worry about structure and conformation until you have temperament. This is how dogs are created. When you go out of order, next thing you know, things are taking longer to get correct than they should have. You might get the money because you bred this crippled dog, but it's the color everybody likes. But now you got to go back and fix what's crippled about this dog. Whereas had you have fixed that before, you could have just bred for color and got that in one breeding. You could have bred for bone and mass and got that in 1 to 2 breedings. See what I'm saying? But fixing structure and temperament, you're not going to get in one breeding, especially if these are things that you're still learning. So that's how I would look at it, when it comes to dogs and breeding and life and death. We are creating life. So, again, form follows function, function follows purpose, purpose follows the breeder. Rashad Kelly said, "What would an e-collar work for a hyper dog? How would you properly use it?" This is what I will say when it comes to e-collars. Hold on here. Is that they can be tricky if you are not making sure that you are in time with what is going on. A lot of times we say, "I don't want the dog on the couch, so I'm going to get an e-collar." And then the dog jumps on the couch and we hit the e-collar button. Well, that was too late. The dog positions itself to jump on the couch. and you hit the e-collar button. That was too late. The dog motions towards the couch and gives you that feel that you know he's about to jump on there. Bam, that's when you hit it. So when it comes to the e-collar, it's about stopping specific things. So when you say like the dog is hyper, okay, well, what is he doing? I don't believe, let's say the dog's zigzagging in the living room a lot. I don't think that's something that you want to start off with the e-collar. What I would do is start tiring that dog out, taking it for walks, long walks. Bring the dog back home, start with some training. Once you're done with the walk, start with some training. Stay. Um, Everybody likes to teach sit, shake hands, roll over, whatever, but stay down. Um, just giving it different disciplines. When I'm moving past, stay out of the kitchen area. Stay out of the trash in the kitchen. Don't even let your nose touch the trash in the kitchen. Start with these basic obedience and behavior things, and you'll start to notice the hyperactivity starts to go down because now the dog is starting to feel a little more purpose driven. Um, if that's not working, or you haven't figured out how to make that work, then you introduce the e-collar. One, start on a low power. That is very dependent on the dog's reaction to it when you press the button. But start with it on a lower power, but do not start too low. You want the e-collar to grab the dog's attention, and you also don't want it adjusting to it because you started off all the way at the bottom. Now you're making your way up, and slowly, and what you're doing is desensitizing the dog to those lower cues that you should be able to move to or get rid of the actual collar. So find a good space, read the directions based off the collar you use. Find a good space in there, an average space. Start off using that. You're better off starting off at a good space that doesn't hurt your dog or doesn't get the dog to overreact, and then being able to bring it down than you are to start off at the bottom and then bringing it back up. So a lot of e-collar work, yes, it can work. I would say try other methods first. Um, as far as how I would properly use it, I would have to see that's a consultation thing. I would have to see your dog doing what it's doing. For those of you, as I've explained before, I do consultations. They're $50 a phone call. Behavioral training. I try to avoid obedience training, but behavioral training, conditioning, what else? Breeding based off what direction you are headed to. A lot of people laugh because there are times where there are dudes I do not like, but I will say, hey, if you're headed for the show ring, this is the guy you need to go to, or this is a guy you should go to that's gotten the dog off of that guy that you might see me battling with on Facebook often. I'm going to keep it real with you. You know what I mean? And the reason I started charging the 50 was because not for the money, it doesn't really do anything, but was getting so many calls from people for consultations that the 50 kind of brought it down a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit. So that's why I do it. But as far as you having what I would say, hit me up for a consultation, and let me have somebody, and this is to you, Rashad, have somebody film the dog doing what it does that you're wanting to stop as far as the hyperactivity, and then have them filming how you interact with the dog to get it to stop. And from there, we'll probably be able to nip it in the bud without you having to use a e-collar. If you don't have anybody to film, that's not a problem. We'll still be able to fix it. It just won't be as easy, and I'll probably have more questions for you. Last topic was by popular demand, exercise and conditioning, getting the best out of your dog. All right, so we've gone through this once before. It has been a while. First thing, like I have always said, form follows function, function follows purpose, purpose follows the breeder. Every breeder should have a purpose for their dogs beyond just breeding. They should have an end game, some type of ability that their dog has beyond just its looks. So even when you look at the show ring, there's enough little quirks in the show ring where a breeder should be able to say, I want my dog to walk in the show ring and I want them to have this attitude, this temperament. This is what I think the judges will really stand out. Even if I brought a greyhound in a Borbell world, I want that greyhound to have such confidence that, you know, you got to, as a breeder, you got to have these thoughts in your head. The type of exercise and conditioning that you do is going to be dictated by that. As an owner, let's go ahead and get into it. First things first, as far as safety, when it comes to exercising and conditioning your dog, always remember exercise does not start until the dog is panting. So when you see dogs coming out the kennel and they're panting already, they haven't even been doing anything, those are crappy dogs. The dogs are overstressed. You do not want to breed to them, even though I know the bully world likes dogs of that caliber. But the truth is, exercise does not start until the dog is panting. So if I go walking, so for now, Floyd will be 16 years old soon. He pants sooner than he used to 10 years ago. You see what I'm saying? Because he's not in the same shape. So exercise starts when the dog starts panting. Conditioning starts when the dog starts drooling. Once that drool turns into a foam, that's when it is time for recovery. So there are 3 phases of conditioning: exercise, conditioning, recovery. Okay. That's what you want to remember. You want to pay attention to that. Then the dog is panting, it is exercising. If it's not panting, that means the dog is just doing what it should normally be doing without you even being involved. So if you take your dog for a walk, you get back home and it's not panting, that's the walk that dog can do on its own, and it doesn't need you for that. You want to be, every dog should be going on walks that are long enough for them to be panting. And panting exercise is when the exercise starts. Exercise should be done on a daily basis because it prepares a dog for conditioning. Conditioning starts when the dog starts drooling. When you see that clear drool coming down the side of the mouth, going down the chest, that is conditioning. When that drool goes from clear to foam, that is when it's time for the dog to stop and recovery. So those are the 3 phases that a dog goes through: exercise, conditioning, recovery. In exercise and also in the performance and the ability of the dog is anaerobic and aerobic. Anaerobic is, there's two forms, okay, of anaerobic exercise or work. The first form is Pagan. The second form is I can never pronounce it. Glycolytic is the second phase. The third phase is aerobic. So aerobic and anaerobic are 2 different things. So again, we had 3 phases of exercise and conditioning. First phase is exercise. Second phase is conditioning. Third phase is recovery. As far as recovery, a dog that's out of shape is going to take anywhere from 10 to 13 minutes to recover. The average dog is going to take anywhere from 8 to 10 minutes to recover. A dog that is in shape will recover in 3 to 5 minutes. Okay. The more in shape your dog gets, the longer it's going to take for it to have to pant. The longer it's going to be able to pant before it starts drooling. The longer it's going to drool before that drool turns to foam. That's the way you want to think of it. Always watch for that, because when it turns to foam, that is when it is time for you to stop and let the dog recover. All right, so we've gone through that. Now, the different phases of it, like I said, there's 3 phases of energy that your dog uses. The first 2 are anaerobic. The last one is aerobic. Anaerobic is broken into 2. Those 2 phases are Pagan. Pagan is the dog sees something and bam, it goes on that burst to go after it. That first, let's say 10, 15 seconds, depending on how good a shape the dog is in, that to get that dog going, that hard burst, that is Pagan. Weight pull is a Pagan exercise. What else? Anything that involves wall climbing would be a false pagan exercise because it's based off that burst. It's only lasting for 3 to 10 seconds, 3 to 15 seconds, we'll say. The next phase of energy that is also anaerobic is the glycolytic system. And when I say system, these are parts of what the dog is going through for motion, and you want to take advantage of them when you're conditioning your dog, and in what you choose to, what methods you choose to use. In the glycolytic system, you're talking about 2 to 5 minutes. Okay, so false pagan was only a mere seconds, less than 15 seconds. In the glycolytic system, you're talking anywhere from 30 seconds to 5 minutes. 5 minutes is kind of long. Let's say 30 seconds to 3 minutes, 2 minutes. You know what I mean? That's your glycolytic system. Perfect example of that is frisbee catching. Especially because greyhound racing is a perfect example. Your hounds chasing after various hogs, rabbit hunting, things like that. That's your glycolytic system, lasting 1 to 3 minutes. And then there's the last system is your aerobic system. The aerobic system involves false pagan to get started. It involves glycolytic to maintain momentum, but then the dog's got to push itself. That is where you're looking at like hog catching. What would be a good example? Lure coursing. Some would look at lure coursing the same as glycolytic, but it's not. It's not as smooth when you hit that lure coursing. Now, if it's just one long run, yeah. But there tends to still be an aerobic factor to it because it is a lot of times lure coursing has turns, things like that. So those are your 3 various systems. Now let's get into what forms of exercise you want to do based off what it is you're doing. So first, let me look at the comments. Where are we? Oh, shit. Am I that far behind? Where is the comment? Come on, where am I at? Last comment was Pitbull Bell. And I cannot. There we go. All right. So, those are the things that you want to think about when it comes to conditioning your dog. What are activities we would condition for? Hunting, catch work. If I'm going to be doing protection work, I want my dog to have as much energy as possible so that it maintains as much intensity as possible. The show ring, perfect example. If you are participating in the show ring, the only thing you have to worry about is what? The false pagan system. The dog's going to be there all day, so you want it to be in somewhat a decent shape. But other than that, with the American Bully especially, you want to put some muscle on it. You want to put some mass on it, some type of weight vest, an actual weight pulling regimen will be perfect for a show ring dog, especially in the American Bully world. As far as types of exercise, the spring pole. With the spring pole, which is a popular one for pit bulls, bullies, first thing to remember is one, any dog that's over 70 pounds, make sure that their feet are touching the ground. The objective of the spring pole is it will work the back legs. It will work and you want make sure the rear's touching the ground, but the front legs not necessarily, okay? If you want the front legs to touch the ground, that's cool. I tend to prefer the front legs not able to touch the ground. And what you end up doing is you get a dog that constricts. And what you'll notice is it's going to work the mid-back area. It's going to work the back legs. As the dog yanks to pull, it's going to work that stomach, the muscles in the stomach, the lat muscles. Why you let her in? Put her back outside. The lat muscles, it's going to work the neck. It's going to work the jaws. And perfect form of exercise. But remember, you get a dog 70, 80 pounds, that's when you want to think about making sure that the dog's rear legs are able to touch the ground. Regular, are you putting her in her kennel? Oh, put her outside. She thinks she's going to EAT. Your regular walks pretty much are working the pasterns, shoulders, rear legs, a little bit of the back. If you go for long walks, you will move it from the back area, like just above the loins of the dog, and you'll move it closer all the way up into the shoulders. Long walks are great for the dog. Long sprints are great for the dog. Not long sprints, but multiple sprints, great for the dog. What else? Weight pulling is good. I'm not big into weight pulling. Swimming, of course, is good. Working the shoulders, the legs of the dog, the back of the dog. But there's various ways to go about exercising the dogs. One of the things that you can always use, of course, is a ball for fetch. You want to have somewhere that you can go and throw the ball long so that the dog does do long sprints. You also want to have somewhere you can go where you can bank the ball off of trees, walls, whatever your throwing ability is good enough to hit. This keeps the dog active. My favorite conditioning method is the flirt pole. I see a lot of people whipping it around, using it incorrectly. You're supposed to work the flirt pole like a cat meal. I like a 10-foot flirt pole, not a 5-foot flirt pole, to get the dog to do larger circles. As soon as I feel myself getting dizzy, I turn and I go the opposite direction. As I've explained before, some dogs are right foot, some dogs are left foot. If a dog is right footed, then it is going to feel more comfortable chasing the flirt pole going clockwise due to the fact the right foot is in the pivot position. If a dog is left foot, it's going to feel more comfortable chasing the flirt pole counterclockwise because the left foot is in the middle and is the pivoting foot. The way you use that to your advantage is if my dog is right footed, and how do you figure this out? Watch your dog sitting down, call it to you 9 times out of 10. It's going to step coming forward to you with the right foot first. That's going to let you know. So when you work that flirt pole and you're going clockwise, that dog's going to be pivoting on that right and feel more comfortable working in a wide circle chasing the flirt pole. When you go counterclockwise, it's not as comfortable. The dog is going to try to cut you off because it's not as comfortable running on a steady pivot off of its left foot. So you'll notice the dog all of a sudden tries to cut you off more, try to jump, lunge at it. You'll tend to get more agility type movement from the dog. So what I would, and that is my favorite routine. Hill runs is another good one. If you can find a hill 10, 15, 20 feet high, getting the dog to run uphill in dirt is another good one. Start off towards the base of the hill so that the dog understands how to control his body and his movement as it comes down. So you want to start off tossing the ball a little bit up, then higher up, then higher and higher up. And as the dog brings it down each time, it becomes more comfortable in bracing his body for descending downhill. Fetch, like I said, I love doing fetch, bouncing that ball up. Also, if you have a small yard, there are various ways, like I said, bouncing the ball off of walls, trees. Throwing the ball straight up will cause the dog to squat a little and raise up on its front legs as it waits to go after the ball for the ball to come down. Another one is bouncing the ball off the ground right in front of the dog will cause the dog to do kind of a squatting motion. You just have to be creative, but the main things are tap in with each of the 3 energy systems and then pay attention to each of the 3 methods of or each of the 3 signs of exercise and conditioning, which is panting, drooling, And then when it's time, panting for exercise, drooling for conditioning, and then foamy drool for when it's time to recover. Other than that, those are the topics for the day. So I'm going to catch up and see where you guys are at in the comments. Guns Blazing Bully said, question, what are your thoughts on having any working pit bull in a weighted vest during hill sprints? Flirt for a friend and long sprints playing fetch. Is that overkill? I would say it is too much, especially for a pit bull. There's really no reason in doing it. I think a lot of times we're putting a weighted vest on the dogs because we want the workout to be over with faster. The pit bull's getting conditioned to the point where doing it 5 times or for however long many you're able to do in 30 minutes, because that's all you wanted to be out there for was 30 minutes, then spend 45 minutes. And as he gets more in condition, spend 55 minutes and continue spending more time. When you're putting the weighted vest on dogs, to me, the best thing about a weighted vest is doing the things that we would do naturally, like a regular walk. I'll put a weighted vest on the dog for our regular walks. That's what I would tend to use the weighted vest for, not for actually conditioning, running, jumping, things like that. Same thing with hill sprints. Hill sprint, the dog is conditioned to doing the hill sprint, then you need to have it do more. Don't add the weighted vest because the dog also needs to control itself coming down the hill. So to me, weighted vests are best for, and I know we see a lot of videos glamorizing them, showing them the dogs running and everything. The truth is, if I'm conditioning my dog, I'm not going to have a weighted vest on it. I'm going to have a weighted vest on my dog when I'm exercising the dog, taking it for walks. When we get into that conditioning phase and I'm really trying to push this dog, I don't want to have a weighted vest on it. So, the flirt pull, the spring pull, things like that, I would just save the weighted vest for the spring pull. Could be cool. I could picture that. I would more use it for walks. I wouldn't use it for anything that might require any form of agility, like your flirt pull, like your hill runs. Now, the spring pull, there's really not much agility. So I would go ahead and I would probably use a weighted vest for the spring pull. But spring pull and walks, that way everything is under control. When you start getting to the flirt pull, playing fetch, hill runs, I wouldn't use a vest for that. James, I have no clue. Ignorance at its worst, like it's a dog. They bark. So what do they think it'd be okay in an apartment? Not sure. Is this on the hyper dog? Just vest or pull attached. And let's see, they should have reached out to breeder and it all could have been avoided. Good thing he could take it back. He has a room and now rehabbing the dog and training is going great. Eric Maxwell said bark collars will eventually stop a dog from barking, but whatever is making the dog bark will come out in another way. Chewing, digging. Exactly. I agree 100%. That was a very good point. James Galloway said, I swear common sense ain't that common. It is not. Pitbull Bell said, guns, how old is your dog? If mature, that work should be a breeze. Let's see. Fatima, what's up? Thanks for joining in. I think you should charge. Let's see. James, common sense is not a flower that grows in many gardens. Y'all coming up with all these common sense phrases. Let's see. Betsy said Bailey is just starting conditioning with the weather getting warmer. There you go. Let's see. Hold on. Well, I just hit the wrong thing. What did I do? What happened? There we go. All right. I'm a freeze baby. Don't do cold. Neither do I. Daryl softer than me. Laugh out loud. Let me. Exactly. That's what. That oof that you typed in there. Exactly. That's why. Since I'm sitting here, I gotta watch what I say and how I say it, and especially because I know there's a whole lot of people that can't wait for me to mess up something, so they can point fingers at me, even if it makes sense. G Moneybags, what's up? Thanks for joining in. Let's see. Pitbull Bell, he giving the political answer on some of these. Always, you got to. Fatima said, I want my dog to have attributes as my companion dog. Exactly. And then, and when it comes to that, we have to ask ourselves, what do we look at as a companion? I'll tell you right now, I got two homies that when we were young, if we knew we were outnumbered and chances were that we was going to lose whatever fight we was about to get into, I had two homies that it was acceptable for them to not join in that fight. We just knew it. We didn't expect it. They were funny as hell all the time, and we wouldn't even be mad at them. Now the rest of the homies, it didn't matter how bad we was going to lose. Everybody had to join in. But I say that to say this. When we use the word companion for our dogs, we have really lowered the standard and expectation of the word companion. People will say, I don't need a dog to protect my home. I just need it to be my companion and watch TV with me. All of us don't need emotional support dogs. All dogs are not meant to be emotional support dogs. A service dog is one thing. Emotional support dogs, we don't all need it, and all dogs ain't made for it. And we have to, at some point, especially as dog breeders, even dog owners, but especially as dog breeders, we have to get out of needing emotional support for our dogs. Otherwise, we're going to have dogs that give us the support we need better than this dog, but this dog is actually better for the breed in our yard. So now we're able to separate ourselves from that, then that's cool. And it's why I actually had a consultation with somebody that has an emotional support American bully. And I had to ask them, are you planning on using the dog for breeding? And they were saying, yeah, they planned on using it for breeding. So then I had to let them know I would use it now, because later they're going to be, your yard's going to surpass that dog. May not surpass it as an emotional support animal, but eventually it's going to surpass that dog. So your plan of waiting to use it down the line because of the support that it's giving you, get it out the way now. Use the dog now, and then start breeding the best to the best. Because the best support dog is not always going to be the best, best dog for your yard. So when we use that word companion, we have to look at it, and we can't water down the terms. Your companion, human, family, and your companion, human and dog, should be willing to protect you, to protect your home. That don't mean it's going to catch a bullet for you. It might take off running, just like a Chihuahua. But a Chihuahua is a great companion because they will bark and alarm you to death when they know something is going on that shouldn't be going on. When you start to get dogs that are larger than the Chihuahua, get to your knees, that 14-inch mark, when they start getting around 14, 15 inches, that dog should be willing to initiate physical contact in order to protect you. And when we start saying, no, that's not my expectation of the dog because I have an alarm system, guns, and I have cameras, those are your breeders who are going to breed lesser dogs. They might win in the show ring, but as a dog, they're going to suck. They might be good as a yard ornament, as a trophy dog that sits there and looks good, but as a dog, it's going to suck. And you need to think if that's the type of person you want to be getting a dog from. A dog should be able to do the things that we initially created dogs for, which was hunting, herding, and guarding. If it can't do one, if it's lost that, I don't care if it's because it's a pug, a basset hound, I don't care what it is. If it's lost those three things, those are major flaws, and you have to debate, should that dog exist? Should that breed exist? Does that sound harsh? Yeah, but who cares? You're supposed to be doing what's best by the dog, not by our human emotions. Let's see, people say, if y'all need me, tag me or type it. Again, I miss a lot when comments are moving. Exact, same here. And thanks for helping out, Belinda. James, yes. James, you can't always be political, though. I think that's why we have so many that still don't get it. You know what it is? For instance, I notice in the bully community, they like to throw around the word dog man. Well, I'm not political when it comes to that term. They think everybody that's bred a dog, everybody that's got a history of breeding dogs is considered a dog man. But nobody calls their vet a dog man. So obviously, or their reproductive vet a dog man. So that's obviously not true. Your breeder that has experience breeding American bullies for 20, 30 years. If you've been breeding bullies for 20 to 30 years, you're not a dog man. These dogs don't require you to be a dog man for you to breed them successfully. The show ring doesn't make you a dog man. What else do we use? When we talk, a lot of times we like to talk about the word culling. I'm going to cull this. I'm going to cull that. Okay, well, why even mention that word if all you're going to do is spade and neuter it and send it to a pet home? You know, so to me, I think when it comes to the political correctness of the American bully, I will be, due to the fact that I don't have anything to gain or lose by the community. But I also know on the internet, this is a soft world. There are things that I've seen and done with dogs that most people don't have the stomach for. So because I understand that, I'm gonna always have to be a little politically correct when speaking on dogs. But if you can't read between the lines, then that's on them. Fatima said, I want my dog to have those attributes as my companion dog. There you go. Belinda said, we have to get real with ourselves and also realize we can't save everyone. Very true. We need to, what would you say? We need to operate as if we can, but we have to know when we can't waste our time with certain people and certain things. So I try to put the best out there, but now I try to avoid getting into arguments and debates with people. You know, a simple debate, cool. Anything of ignorance, stupidity, lies, I'm not going to have anything to do with. I'll just move on. WKRK9, what's up, man? Thanks for joining in. That's a good looking dog in your picture. Pitbull Bell said we can't drag people with us if they keeping the brakes on or dragging their feet. Exactly. And they're going to drag their feet. As people delight in things becoming easier but pretending they're harder, they are going to drag their feet when it comes to making things more difficult or taking things back to the way they used to be. Everybody wants shortcuts now, so they are definitely going to drag their feet on myself and my dogs and others. That's how you got to be. Let's see. Watch the dog, not the world. Less dizzy. Travis Franklin said, Daryl, that what's good, Travis from Iowa. What's up, man? Thanks for joining in. Let's see here. I'd be like, refer back to the last 100 videos, please. I know. Eric said, back in the day, I would find a low traffic area and let the dog out and chase the car. You'll probably end up in jail if you try that these days. There's a lot of things I used to do with my dogs that, you know, I would no longer let somebody see me doing. It's just a different world. It's a softer world. Men are different. Women are different. You know, it is. I had somebody. The question was, what was it? Like, say I'm about to do something now that's not politically correct. But the question, it was on that swimming thing. The whole, the dude that's swimming against women. And I question, why doesn't he continue competing amongst men? And the person who made the post responded, quit being transphobic. And what else? Quit being transphobic. And he's not a woman, so therefore he shouldn't. But then, so I got in trouble for saying he, but then they said he also. And I had to point out to him, I was like, you're saying that I'm being transphobic because I used the word he. Then when you went to your next sentence, you said he's not a woman or he's not a man anymore because he has chosen to do whatever the things that he was doing. That we're just in a weird world now. You know what I'm saying? Where even the people who are promoting the real world, they don't get it. Unfortunately, not only is it going to make softer men, probably harder women, it's going to create softer dogs. And we have to, and as dogs get softer, no different than humans, they're going to become dumber. They're going to become less healthy. It's just what comes along with it. You know, I watched this thing where they stated, I might mess it up as I've stated, but basically it was how was it? Hard times make strong men. Strong men make easy times. easy times make weak men. Weak men make hard times. And that is the cycle of the planet. It has always been that way. Um, you know, just now with the internet, it grows faster and it grows into other areas that it never did before. But that's the cycle we're in. And whether anybody wants to admit it, I think that saying is very true. Hard times make strong men. Strong men make easy times. Easy times create weak men, and weak men make hard times. Um, let's see. I don't get why it's on repeat. What's on repeat? Let's see here. Belinda said, I used to live in a place my driveway was like a mile long, and I let one of my dogs out to go chase every car that came down. People until she started trying to catch. Oh yeah, well there you go. That is the difference. Eric said it's a great exercise. Anytime your dog is going to chase something, run after something, it's good exercise. Our trash trucks on Monday, between the two trash trucks that come and they're moving around the neighborhood, drives the dogs crazy. I'm not worried about exercising my dogs on Monday because they're going to be chasing the trash trucks throughout the day. And as long as they go after it intensely, I'm not worried about it. Let's see. Is it Eric until they try to catch cars and once pops? Exactly. Ended up flipping over. Let's see what else we got here. Trying to see if there's any question. What's great is the driver can fluctuate the speed and the dogs actually love it. Jay said, "How do you feel about hybrid wolf dogs?" In what was I 19, and I had a friend. And I know I was 19 because I was in college. Met a dude in college. His dad had hybrid wolf dogs. They were 75% wolf. What was it? 75%. I'm probably gonna get it mixed up. 10% husky, 10 and 15% German Shepherd. I think it was one of the greatest experiences I've had. I wish I was still in contact with them today, but I think they're great. I think they are only for people who are experienced with dogs. It is different. It's a different intensity being around them. Even when they're being friendly, there's this intensity and this quietness and this dominance that they have about them. It's not like a dog who is bred to give us all these signals of what it's thinking, wagging the tail, barking, ears going back. The wolf and wolf hybrids are both very aloof, even when they're right in front of you being friendly. But I think it's cool. I think as far as the safety of it, I think you really need to understand dogs. You need to understand wolves. You need to understand um, the hierarchy of the pack, the things dogs do to maintain it. Dogs and wolves. I think you need to understand the difference between the two. It is definitely not something that's for everybody. Um, I'll never have a hybrid wolf or bob. I'm not interested in no bobcat, but I would own a hybrid wolf. That I would do. I think my only concern would more be my wife and kids. I do believe they have a demeanor about them that would be okay. My oldest son, he kind of likes being in the face of things. So I think he understands dogs. So I think he would learn quick that, that this is not what you would do that with. So I think my family would be fine with a hybrid wolf. I don't think it's for everybody though. Now, any type of bobcat, I'm not trying to have in my house. I had my fill on wild hybrid animals. Let's see. King Dutch says, salute Thor, VA in the building. What's up, Virginia? Eric Maxwell said, too many natural instincts to possibly deal with. Wolf hybrids are a huge liability, even in the most experienced hands. This is true. Daryl, I know it's a touchy topic right now, but I want your honest opinion. Would you ever breed to the offspring of a dog that died at 6 years old, no matter how nice he or she was. Woo! Okay. We actually, it depends on would I ever breed to a dog that died at 6 years old. Me personally, depends on what the dog died of. I would more than likely say no. And when I say depends on what the dog died of, I would need to know all the issues that caused it to die, not something in general. Um, but overall, no, because in my opinion, now let's say the dog is a huge dog, um, and it dies at 6. It's wide, it's tall, it's huge, Great Dane, but with a bull mastiff body or something like that. And it dies at 6 years old. That's a little more understandable. But if I'm breeding to it, I'm not trying to create the same thing. We have to understand a lot of what the American bully community does not like admitting. We like to make things complicated. So we like to say, okay, I'm health testing because that makes it seem complicated and my dog's more valuable. But we all saw the outcome of a person who was health testing their dogs on a regular basis a couple of weeks ago. She got a court case coming up. We like to make things complicated so it can seem like we know what we're doing, when the truth is a lot of us don't, in the American bully community especially. So to me, if we got rid of a lot of the traits that we breed for in the American bully community, we would end a lot of the health issues and the stupidity issues that we see in these dogs. When it comes to, as some of you know, we had someone that had a grand champion and offered us a pup from that grand champion for free. And the pup was, well, he wasn't a pup anymore. He was like a year and a half old. But we turned it down. One of the reasons we turned it down was because it didn't fit our program. They felt it would because the dog was hyper or was driven. Well, in conversation, we realized the dog wasn't driven; it was hyper, and those are two different things. So we turned it down. We don't care about it being a grand champion and things like that. Also, as I had told the person, you keep breeding this dog to be extreme. This was the father, the grand champ. You keep breeding this dog to be extreme. At some point, you're gonna have to take this dog out to another yard, which probably should have been done before. But they looked at themselves as teaching me about the American bully. So that relationship tampered. Good thing we never got that dog because that dog ended up dying. That dog's father ended up dying early. Um, and you figure by now we would have bred that dog into our yard and dogs that we plan on using. So if a dog dies at 6 years old, would I breed to it? Nah, trying to avoid that, but it's a new breed. So a lot of times we're getting involved and we're breeding the dogs that are 3, 4 years old and they haven't reached that 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13-year-old mark that they should reach. Which is why you guys will also see that I'm against a lot of the traits that we breed for. I have never had a DNA test or health test any dog. With the rot I had, we did do hip testing. As far as his offspring, I didn't, because healthy dogs was always something that was easy to come across. When it comes to the American bully, even now, Floyd has never been tested for anything. Floyd's actually never even been to a vet. Floyd's about to hit 16 years old. My Jack Russell, 14, 15 years old. Kayla, 10, 11, 12 years old. The oldest dog I've ever had was 17. My Rottweiler lived till 14. That was a 140-something pound dog. I just don't get dogs that don't live a long time. And I think but I also have never picked dogs based off their look. I've always picked them based off their energy that they came with and what purposes their parents had. Now here we are in the bully community and we're breeding these dogs just for looks. And the dog may have the look that you want, But if it also was, if you're about to breed it for looks, it was bred for looks. The dogs before it were bred for looks. And what you're doing is you're causing a long chain of events that have nothing to do with performance and ability. And therefore, you will lose health. You will lose intelligence. On top of that, we do C-sections. So there are dogs that should not be giving, that are supposed to die when they give birth, and it's not happening. There are pups that are supposed to be dying when they're being born, and it's not happening. We do artificial inseminations. So there are there are females that should never be able to get pregnant, and yet they're getting pregnant. We're doing surgical inseminations. There are males that should not be able to get a female pregnant, but they're able to get. So we're doing all the things everything that nature puts in place to kill what shouldn't live. We're figuring out ways around it, and then we're upset when we get a dog that dies earlier than what we feel a dog should have died. So now, on the flip side of that, you will have dogs that die at 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, but still have offspring that live longer lives. Um, so again, this is all about traits and the dogs that we breed to. And the dogs, when a dog dies at, you said 6 years old, if a dog dies at 6 years old, is what killed it a trait that it got from mom or dad? If I'm breeding to that dog, what traits am I bringing to it that steer it away from whichever parent it got that trait from? So it's a tricky question, but all in all, just to be honest, no, I'm not breeding to a dog that dies at 6 years old. Um, Now, let's say the dog dies. Yeah, well, there would be no way of doing that. So yeah, dog dies at 6. Nah, I'm not gonna breed to it, um, unless the dog has some extreme trait that I'm not breeding for. So, English bulldog living 6 to 7 years old is, you know, that's average. But let's say I want to create a new breed, and I'm going to use the English bulldog to get the bone or an underbiter, whatever it is. But I'm using the miniature pinscher. Guess what? My offspring are probably going to outlive the English bulldog that they bred to. So a lot of it does depend on traits. So if you're getting a trait that you see from a dog, but you're cleaning it up, you can get away with it. So it's kind of a catch-22 question. All in all, though, I would definitely not be breeding two dogs that died early, and especially at 6 years old. But if those dogs had extreme features, you might be able to get away with it if you're not breeding for those features. So hopefully that makes sense. My male is my service dog for my PTSD, but I guarantee he'll bite a intruder. Exactly. But see, you picking dogs for different reasons than the average person. You want your dogs to be able to work. Travis said, I don't like it, but the prey drive, I use that toward my advantage sprinting after particularly squirrels. But I run my dogs in the minimal human occupied areas. I think it's perfect. I'm going to tell you one of the best things you can do for your dog is to allow them to hunt. Squirrels, rabbits, simple. They can't get hurt. Another good thing about it is the more you go to the same spot, the more those squirrels, the more those rabbits will learn your dog, and the more they will give that dog opportunities that they wouldn't have necessarily given to other dogs or dogs coming full speed. In giving those opportunities, your dog learns to think and your dog learns to figure out things, what to fall for, what not to fall for. So I think rabbits and squirrels can be some of the best teachers to your dog of any animal. G Moneybag says, I don't want no punk ass dog. I'm sorry. I agree. Pitbull Bell said, Eric, my wolf hybrid absolutely had way too many wild instincts. He was put in a sanctuary. The place that I went to was in California, and it was actually a sanctuary. They were rescuing, they had one wolf amongst the pack of hybrids, but then they also had two other wolves there. I didn't go anywhere near them, but as far as the hybrids and that one wolf, that was a cool experience. Another time, our family was in Yosemite at the where they do where the hot water comes up. I forget what it's called. But there was a dude that had two wolves in there trying to pretend they were huskies. But my dad, my uncle recognized right off the bat that they were wolves. Eric Maxwell says, I'm pretty sure she said Charmer had genetic markers that made him more prone to kidney stones on the embark/health testing. So it sounds like it. Now, seeing, so even like with kidney stones, because there's things that dogs die of that we could have, tried to prevent at an earlier age by a switch in diet, things like that. So, I don't know enough about, Prince Charmer's situation. Other than, to me, he is hands down one of the best bullies to ever appear in this game. You had a hybrid bobcat, started attacking everything and had to go. Never again. See, that I'm not dealing with. Their teeth are long. Floyd killed a bobcat years ago, and that was the first time I realized how long their claws are and how long and sharp their actual teeth are. Bobcat is no joke. That was one of his roughest battles that he's been in, and he loved every second of it. Let's see. Then they have to be put someplace special, or you have to shoot them. That makes sense. Yeah, because if it starts attacking, you can't just give it away. So it means you end up having to shoot it if you can't find a sanctuary or something to take it to. I know a guy that had 2 hybrids, and they were escape specialists. Luckily, nobody ever got hurt. The state eventually stepped in. You'd have to. G Money said, I'm a poop scooper. What? Rhodes said, I have cameras and guns, but my boy will alert me if a stranger is walking by. Now, if they were to still try to come over that fence, he will definitely engage. And that's what you want. You want the cameras, you want the gun. Of course, we want to use technology to our advantage in being safe. But I also want what worked in the old school, and that's the dog. Because here's the thing. People talk about guns and all that stuff, but most people ain't never pulled a gun on somebody, pointed a gun at somebody, let alone shot somebody or even shot at somebody. So when a lot of people think what they'll do with a gun in the heat of the moment and have no idea that they won't even be able to function in the heat of that moment. What I can say is this. If you own a dog that you love and that dog takes off towards a door or an intruder, not only is that dog buying you time, but now you become in a sense of mind that is outside of just protecting you. It becomes about protecting your dog. A lot of people will shoot someone faster for their dog than they will for themselves. You see what I'm saying? So if the dog forces you into that mind state, chances are you'll use that gun. The other thing is, if the intruder has a weapon and my dog goes after that intruder, my dogs are going to force you to use whatever weapon you have. So if you you squeeze that trigger, gun goes off. Guess what? Now my neighbors heard you. They're calling the police. It's time for you to get up and out because you just shot my dog. Hopefully my dog does survive, but if it doesn't survive, at least my family did. So like it or not, a dog is also our best crash test dummy because it is keeping my family safe. I know my dogs will engage, and if you shoot them, you got to go now because you just made this loud sound in my neighborhood. Sad my dogs died, but great that my family is still here. So I laugh when people, talk about they don't want a dog to do that. Javon Benji said, one love and respect from Javon, Manchester, England. What's up? Shout out to Manchester, England. Thanks for joining in. Pitbull Bell said, we prefer not to be called that. There's so much that we do that's correct ways. And yes, I too have seen and done things that most couldn't ever stomach. It happens, and especially when you're in our age bracket. But we do see the term dog man just thrown around in this community. And I don't speak on it much, except for in my lives. But yeah, if you don't have experience hunting with a dog, and when I say experience, I mean a long time of experience. Hunting with a dog, herding with a dog, doing protection with a dog. And the failures that come with it, the injuries that come with it. then you're not a dog man. And there's nothing wrong with that. You can still be a great breeder without being a dog man. Everybody does not have to be a dog man. Like I said, most of you don't have the stomach for that. So there's nothing wrong with it. You know what I'm saying? But for whatever reasons, the new social media world, if you like a breeder, all of a sudden they're a dog man because of what? They've been breeding American bullies. This ain't a breed that requires you to be a dog man. Same thing with English bulldogs, pugs. Any non-working breed being bred doesn't make you a dog man. I don't care if you've been breeding that breed for 50 years. Kentucky Bully said, great live tonight. I'm about to head off early to go to bed. Catch everyone next time. Good night, y'all. Thanks for tuning in, Kentucky. Let me see here. Vicious cycle. I don't want my dog as protection. I have guns for that. Nah, Fatima, we're not doing that. Your dog should at least alarm you. It should at least be willing to alarm you. Because we got to remember that's what they were geared for. So there's a certain amount of intelligence that comes with it. When we get a dog that won't at least alarm us, there's something that we're now starting to lose in the mind of that dog. So it should at least be willing to alarm you, which is a form of protect. Your alarm system keeps you protected. So same thing, you know, and the dog should be willing to alarm you. I don't want a Chihuahua that's not willing to bark, you know, at an intruder or something that it sees as something wrong. So your dog should at least be willing to alarm you. And a lot of times we think our dog will protect us and it won't. Our dogs a lot of times think they will protect us. But when rubber meets the road and that intruder don't back down, a lot of times the dog won't protect us. That is something that has to be bred for specifically. But at least be willing to alarm me so that I have time to get my gun or I never have to use my gun because you scared that intruder off. I want to do something like old school barbecue and activities. I've had a plan and I think people will enjoy it and hopefully catch on to what they're really supposed to be. Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of old school stuff needs to take place. I think these dogs should have to perform some tasks before they are given a breeding certificate. If we have breeding certificates, a lot of dogs would fail. Imagine style bullies. Hey everybody, what's up, Imagine? Thanks for joining in. But no, you want a dog to have the instincts to protect you so that you know your dog is mentally healthy and mentally functional. That is, it's like saying I don't want my dog to protect me is like saying I don't want my fish to be able to swim. When you get a fish that cannot swim, something is wrong. So when you get a dog that is a pack animal but is unwilling to alarm or protect its pack of an intruder, something's starting to malfunction. Something's starting to be non-functional. And that therefore you want that. If a dog's not willing to warn, and when I say warn you of an intruder, I don't just mean walk up to the door barking a couple times because it hurts somebody. That dog should act in front of you like it's willing to bite. You might know that when that door opens, it's going to take off running, but the dog should feel confident. When it isn't, something is dysfunctional about that dog. So a dog should be willing to alarm you. Let me see here. Absolutely, you wouldn't want to breed that died that young. Exactly. I tried the flirt pole. It's a great exercise, but my dogs argue over it. Just do it one at a time. So I had to adapt. The prey drive and swimming works for us. If you're doing multiple dogs at once with the flirt pole, you're gonna have to, because the objective with the flirt pole is going in a circle and trying to keep it as close to the dog as possible without the dog getting it. I prefer using a wiffle ball first, then I'll move on to their favorite toy next, and then after that, I work the flirt pole without any lure whatsoever so that the dogs understand that you're doing this for the purpose of us conditioning, not because of you trying to get this lure. And the dog forms a certain work ethic. But if you got multiple dogs, you might have to do it one at a time, especially if they're fighting over it. Or you just got to make sure they don't catch it. You know, now if they're not catching it and they're still fighting over it in the chase, then yeah, you're gonna need to do it one at a time. Or scold them when it takes place. Start correcting them for doing it, especially the main one that is going after the other dog. What they do amongst themselves is no concern to me, but what is, and what ain't. There you go. Guns Blazing Bullies, Pitbull Bell. She's 11 months and is a freak of nature athletically. Takes a lot for me to wear him down. Travis, do it with one. Do it with one at a time. Exactly, with the flirt pole. Fact, I believe they should too. I don't even have to be complicated. Kentucky Bully said, "Hey Daryl, in your experience, do your customers prefer you to have proof of vaccination from the vet, or do you vaccinate your litters at home?" I've always been known for dealing with dogs, so I have always vaccinated them myself and did the vaccinations on my own. I think when you start getting in the internet world, and we still have yet to sell a pup online or through the internet community, within our next 1, 2, 3 breedings, that'll probably end up taking place. So online, I would say you want to go ahead and have it done with a vet, because the majority of these bully people, that's what they're gonna want. I personally, if you tell me that you vaccinated the pup yourself and you show me what you use, I'm cool with that. I'm gonna believe you as long as the pup's looking healthy, and then I'll take over once I get the pup. So in my experience, my customers are cool with me vaccinating the dogs themselves. They didn't even want proof of vaccination. Most of the people I've dealt with didn't even want papers on dogs. They just wanted the dog to be able to do what I said it was going to be able to do, or what they saw his parents doing, and that was their only concern. So my experience is a little different. Now, as far as online community, people are probably going to want some type of proof. Bible Bell said, "Guns. I guess it would depend on why that extreme, and that is way too young for that much exertion." Bible Bell said, "Exactly, James. I put all mine through all type of shit. Hey, but they love it. That's what they were bred to do. Definitely depends on what it died from, but that's too young for me." Yeah, I agree. It depends on what it died from. Guns, you can wear it down lots of other ways. Okay, as far as exercise, 6 years is way too young to die. I have males 6 to 7, and I've not bred yet. They're acting like they 3, and they still probably be bred only once. I agree. I'm used to my dog. I think Floyd, his first breeding was, I want to say, at 6 years old. He was 6 or 7 years old. And Zarata said, "I would own a wolf dog." You know what? They're cool. It's a different feel though. They have a totally different vibe than most dogs. A dog can be quiet, but its existence isn't quiet. Whereas with like a wolf hybrids, they're around you, but there's this weird calmness and quietness about them that's different than other dogs. I have never had one to die under 10 years old, must hit 12, 13 years. A few that were 15, almost 16. My now oldest is 12 years old. He's showing his age, but still strong. Floyd is definitely not strong. He's 16, and he done lost weight. He thinks he's still tough, but he's funny to watch as he stumbles over things that he normally wouldn't have stumbled on. And I can tell he can't hear or see as well, which he uses to his advantage and pretend we're not calling him. And Zarata said, "I am thinking of getting a drone for my bully to chase for exercise. She always wants to get birds, so I think keeping it overhead where she can't get it would be good exercise. Definitely good exercise. One of the things when I work a flirt pole, I don't like dragging it on the ground. I like keeping it just above the dog's head. So if the dog's head is here, I try to keep the lure right slightly above the dog's head. Keep them looking up and using that chest and body as they run. And I think a drone would be dope. When we move, I plan on getting a drone at some point shortly. We have dogs here that will snatch a squirrel out of the air before it hits the limb it was jumping to. My dogs could live as stray if it. My Jack Russell was one of those. Floyd would never be able to live as a stray because he's going to be trying to fight everything. Kayla would probably find some homeless person to take care of. My Jack Russell was that dog that would definitely be able to live as a stray. Our American bullies, who would be able to live as a stray? King's gonna pimp humans. He's not gonna live as a stray. He's gonna end up using humans to his advantage. See, Cardi, Bull, Justice, they definitely couldn't live in the wild. Um, they're just too prey driven, and they would probably go after something they can't handle. I don't know. You know what? That you figure they mess around and catch something, and they're hungry, so they're chasing it out of hunger and prey drive, not just prey drive. They might be able to survive. Cardi, Bull, and Justice would be interesting. My Jack Russell would definitely survive if she was before she passed. If she was in the wild, because she ate bugs, lizards, anything she killed, she ate it. My dogs could live. Let's see here. Terrell Boyd Denzel still going strong too. Yeah, I think he's if I'm not mistaken, is Denzel like between 9 and 12? I want to say for some reason 12 is sticking out my head. But yeah, Dom Terrell's boy Denzel is still going. I don't remember what his age is though. Eric said, "Hope you're a good drone pilot because that can quickly become an expensive loss if the dog catches it and does what it most likely would do if the exactly. Let's see. And Zarata said, I didn't hear about lawsuit with health tested dogs. A lawsuit with health tested dogs. I'm not sure what you're speaking on in Zarata. G Moneybag said, I got an 11-year-old pit / Amstaff female. She looks half her age and is a damn good security dog. Went to the vet twice. People Bell said, Dom, yes, he is. But so he is at that age. I don't know why I was thinking. Wait a minute, hold on. Where's that comment? Charles is still going strong too. Yeah, I don't remember how old he is. But People Bell said, Dom, yes, he is, but he's drawing near the end as well as my old guy. It's hard to lose them when they've been with you that long. It is. It is. It definitely is. And it's right to say, yeah, she is eating a couple of songbirds. Let's see. I'm gonna cry like a baby when Wednesday's day comes. You know what? I always think I won't cry. I always do. Some a little get a few more tears than others. But I definitely get teary eyed when it comes to the end phase of my dogs. Fox, my Jack Russell, that was a hard one. I thought she wouldn't be, but that was a difficult one. And I know Floyd's going to be a difficult one because these dogs grew up with my kids, so it's hard to watch them go. Um, let's see. Max Temple said, "Why have soft dogs?" I agree. G Money, I always say, I don't want no punk ass dog. Um, I agree. People like them shits. Let's see. I have two squirrels that antagonize the hell out of my dogs all the time. Good thing is when they come back and they fall right out. Exactly. Come back and they fall right out. Let's see. Yeah, she old as my kids. See, and that's what's dope. Like with my Rottweiler, he was my Rott and my Beagle. They were with me through the phase when I was young, running the streets all the way into wife, kids, marriage. And then my current dogs have been here. Well, my last one, Floyd, has been here since my kids were little, all into them. My youngest is now just turned 20 2 days ago. So my bullies have come while my kids are older. But it's still, it's dope when dogs go through you with phases. And so right now I'm getting into bullies. They haven't been with me through a phase, but this move will be like a new phase of our life. And even though it's extremely focused on the bullies and breeding them, it's like they'll be going through me on this phase. So that's what makes it cool. And it's also hard to watch dogs go when they've been through you with different phases of your life. Pitbull Bell said, absolutely no reason to have a soft dog. Hell, damn Yorkie has more oomph than some bullies. I agree. I agree, because some Yorkies can be vicious. Wolf hybrids have huge teeth too. They do. Um, my boy was scary, honestly. Yeah, they have a weird. It's unexplainable. Um, and then for me, like if it was your actual hybrid, so you could probably explain it better. But for me, just being out there 2-3 hours at a time, on various days was cool, but there's still something about it that there really aren't words for in their demeanor. And I've come across it during temporary moments with other dogs. Um, my Jack Russell kind of had that air about her, just kind of this wild, weird air about her, um, almost cat-like. My course was definitely impressive at a young age. G Money said, and the dog usually loves you more than you love yourself. This is true. Um, let's see here. Pitbull Bell said, my dogs will buy me time. Yes, your dog also loves to do that job. And if he dies defending, he died doing what it loved. Exactly. And see, and that's why I look at, the average person, I don't care how small your dog is. If somebody's trying to break in your home and it's proven by police departments all over that if you got a dog barking, it could be the smallest of dogs. The average person is not going to enter your home because it's easier to find a neighbor's home that that um, that doesn't have a dog barking. The average intruder that comes into your home, according to crime statistics, into a home with dogs, has some personal vendetta or is somehow out of their mind with that person, a stalker or something like that. So the dog does not cause them to not enter. Chances are a lot of times they know you as an individual or have been around your dog before. Me personally, I prefer a dog that is going to bite to prevent somebody from entering my home. I don't care how small the dog is, I want it to have that confidence. Um, and like I said, that buys me time to do what I need to do to protect my wife, myself, and my home. People will say a lifetime experience, and yes, 25 plus years is a lifetime. True. Just the knowledge of knowing a dog of any size is on the property is usually enough to keep people with bad intentions away from the property. Exactly. Um, I have people who want to claim to be a dog man but want to hire me to do an AI. See, now you know what? I know dogmen that I know have never done an AI. And if you told them they had to do an AI, they would look at you weird. But I know, have never done any type of unnatural breedings. I know quite a few. Actually, I'm one of them. I've done AIs, but I've had somebody else do them. I've never needed to do an AI. You know what I mean? Until getting into bullies. There's a wolf sanctuary here in Arizona. They have other wild animals too. See, that would be dope to visit. My damn dog. But in Zarate, if you get a chance, try to go to that sanctuary. What sucks about places like that is you get there at the wrong time and the animals are just sitting there not doing nothing. But if you can get there while they're active, kind of watch them, study them, and it gives you a different perspective in dealing with dogs. Let me see here. Are you listening to Clubhouse? Are you? No, I keep getting pop-ups, so I knew something wild was going on. It is. My damn dog better alarm and protect me. He got to earn his fee. Yeah, at least alarm me. At least let me know. If you have a dog that won't alarm you, that gun is useless because you won't have time to get to that gun. I agree. This 6-month-old pup, oh boy, he's already doing it. Been a while since I've seen a dog naturally do what he's doing. See, and that's good to see. Exactly. James, well, fact, unless the fish is your brain, I have the attention span of a gold. Okay, I got you. I know what you talk about. And Zarata said I had a friend who was an Olympic horse rider. She had wolf hybrids to protect her property and horses. Hybrids stopped and bit the. I would be nervous using a wolf hybrid to protect my horses. Swimming is one of the best ways to exercise your dog. I agree. I flirt mine separately. I think that's the best way. I've done up to 4 dogs at one time. but it was more for amusement. If you're actually focused on working the dog, I like to do them separately. Eric said you shouldn't even have to teach a dog to alert you. That should come as naturally as walking. I agree. It is part of what they do. Wild dogs of Africa, hyenas, wolves, ground squirrels. All these animals alert their pack. So when we as humans bring a dog into our pack, he should at least be alarmed. He or she should at least alarm us of things that they take place. Here's the other reason why. An intelligent dog quickly realizes within the first 6 to 12 months, realizes we don't hear things that they hear, we don't see things that they see, and we don't smell things that they smell. They realize it right off the bat. So this dog, if it's intelligent, is going to be adapting itself towards my handicaps. I can't see as good as it can, I can't hear as good as it can, and I can't smell as good as it can. So car engines, every car that drives past your house sounds different to your dog. They know the sounds of your neighbor's cars, the sounds of your car, your wife's car, your son's car, your daughter's car. They know all the sounds. Go get a tune up and an oil change and watch the difference in your dog's reaction to you pulling up. That tick in the engine is different. It's a different sound. It takes the dog a couple more days to get used to that new sound because you just got an oil change or you got a tune up. So I want my dog to realize through intelligence, hey, I can hear things he can't hear. So therefore, I'm going to alarm him to things that I know he's unaware are there. I smell something that he can't smell. So I'm going to alarm him to things that I know. And this is how the dog sees in the dark better than we do. I can see out that window better than he can. We as humans, we look at a window, we look out. A dog smashes its face. It wants to eliminate the reflection coming from the glass. So it's going to put his face as close to the glass as possible to eliminate the reflection. We as humans, we don't want our face touching the glass because the glass is dirty, or we just cleaned it and we don't want to make a smudge on the window. But the truth, so, sometimes we'll do this. A dog is just going to smash his face right to the glass so it can see what it needs to see and get the reflection out the way. So they know they operate different than we do, and they know that we lack some of the abilities they have. And through intelligence, the dog is going to try to alarm us so that we're aware of what's going on. Eric, that's my thought. I do my own unless being shipped. Then they go get full records and health certificate. Okay, exactly. I get talking about the shots. I keep my own records of everything I did to a pup. I do my own, and so far I haven't had any issues. But I can imagine bully breeders saying, "I want the shot to be done by a vet." Dom Seguenza says, "Not sure if I asked yet, but if my 8-week-old pups eat adult Purina dog chow and poop." Okay, hold on. Not sure if I asked yet, but if my 8-week-old pups eat adult Purina dog chow and poops yellow, is that normal with Purina dog chow? It's not the dog chow, it's the pup's digestion of it. You want to make that gravitation to whatever it was eating to what you're feeding a little slower. If you have, so find out from that vet what they were feeding and then start mixing that back with the Purina dog chow. Also mix it with water. That'll help with the digestion. And you can also add like maybe a teaspoon of pumpkin, canned pumpkin, 100% canned pumpkin. That'll help with, make firming up the stool a little bit and getting the intestine tract and everything in line how it should be. If his poop is yellow, it as a puppy, it is more than likely because he hasn't adjusted to digesting that food yet. So find out from the breeder what they had him on first, and then start mixing that back into it till it's about halfway, or you notice the poop firming up to a brown color, and then start making your way back to where it's just the Purina dog chow. Rose said he vaccinates his dogs himself. That dude, JT09, said, Salty, I missed a lot. No worries. You can go back and rewatch it. We are done with the topics. Making my way through the comments now, and I'll probably be off of here shortly. Let's see. Hold on. That flight kicks in 90% of average dogs once realizing that the intruder isn't afraid. Exactly. When they realize the intruder isn't afraid, most dogs are going to back off. A lot of times, like I said, we feel our dogs will protect us because we love them. But if your dog has not been in a position to where it has actually bit somebody in the name of protecting you, then the truth is you have no idea whether your dog will protect you or not. There's a reason why band dogs have to be proven before they are given the title band dog. And then all the next level of proof is them being able to produce dogs that are protective. So, like I said, we all think our dogs will protect them because we got some breed. The more you learn about dogs, the more you can look at a dog and tell that this is a dog that's protective. But for the most part, most dogs of all breeds most dogs of most breeds are not going to truly bite to protect you. If you choose to vaccinate yourself, make sure. Hold on, where was? Okay. If you choose to vaccinate yourself, make sure to remove the stickers from the bottles and put them on a card and piece of paper along with the date given to send to the new owner. Exactly. That and it basically that what he's talking about for those that don't know, when you go to buy shots yourself, it's going to come with a little card and there's a sticker that's removable on the shot. Some of them will be placed on something else. When you give that shot, you're gonna put it in the vial, shake it up, and take it back into the syringe, inject the dog, and then you attach that sticker to that dog. You usually write the date on it, and you want to hand that card to the person that you're selling that pup to, so that they have record of the vaccinations and what shot it got. Now, me personally, I like to re-give them. Once I get the dog to my house, I like to re-give them. I don't care what it was you gave it. I'm gonna re-give it, start all over. Let's see, bro. You know about all the dogs? I know about a few of them. I know about a few of them. Got to watch the winter wolf syndrome. Watch the winter wolf. What is that? I don't know what that is. Let me see here. Hold on. What is winter wolf syndrome? Is that a movie? Or are you talking about an actual? Hold on. Oh, it's a sanctuary. Seasonal aggression mostly occurs during the winter months. Okay, so they got Southern Ohio Wolf Sanctuary. Okay, so during the winter months, I guess I have to read up on that. I never heard about that. And I would have been when I was going to that location, would have been more during the summer. So I've never heard about the winter wolf syndrome. Um, It typically occurs sometimes between November and April. Is associated with the hormonal changes that occur with wolves, natural breeding cycles, and can sometimes even be observed in spayed or neutered individuals. I have never heard of that. That was a new one for me, Mr. J. Major League Canine says, salute Daryl. We work our dogs on our stairs for conditioning. Then when we are pressed for time or weather is implemented. That's the thing when it comes to conditioning dogs, exercising dogs. You just got to be creative. Sometimes we have, here in California, things are easier. Sometimes you get places where the extreme cold winters, long rain periods. Yeah, you have to be creative in what you can do, especially if your dogs are inside or in their kennels. What can you get them to do? I had one pup pass from parvo and two other pups pass from prolapse. I've never dealt with the prolapse. I have dealt with parvos several times. Luckily, I've been able to get dogs through parvo. Matter of fact, one, two, three, four. So three times I've been able to get dogs through parvo. The first time that I dealt with parvo, that dog did end up dying. WKR, I've yet to experience that with my dogs, but I also pull it out of them, train off of it. Some breeds are definitely a bluff go. One was a band dog and one was a pit and the other was a bully. I've never seen a dog with parvo, much less had to deal with it. Yeah, I've dealt with it. All three were pups from different kennels. Denzel. Okay, so Denzel's 13. So he's a year old. See, I was thinking 9. For some reason, 12 was in my mind, but he's actually a year older than what I was thinking. Legend in the game. Let's see. I've saved several pups from Parvo. Same here. That drone will cut your dog up. Be careful. Yeah, you got to watch it with the drone, especially the type that you get. I saved a dog that was about a year old using liquid gold. For Parvo, is that all you were doing, or were you also using the Pedialyte, things like that? Because I've never used liquid gold. I don't even know anybody that's ever used liquid gold. I didn't really start hearing the liquid gold until I got into Bullies. Um, Something that's interesting from what? What's the topic, my people? We ran through the topics. We're going through the comments right now. Lots of topics, Rico. Exactly. What's up, though, Rico? Thanks for joining in, man. Let's see. Talk through all the topics. It's more of a it's just a freestyle now. Hotep Kennels, he had Parvo and wasn't eating. Okay, so you were able a lot of times. Now, the times that I've dealt with Parvo, one I had to use Pepto, I had to use Pedialyte. But I had to do a lot of force feeding. I also was using beef liver water. It's difficult. And they get that crazy smell when they got it bad. But it's difficult. And but I've been able to get through. I know my cousin had a cane corso. Cane corso he got through Parvo. One he ended up having to put down though. At Liquid Gold, and he started eating. And that's the thing. People have to remember when it comes to Parvo, your dog dies through not eating and dehydration because it's constantly throwing up, constantly crapping. So if you can get it through that 10, 14 days, usually the dog will be okay. Let's see. Okay, then I'm going to have to go back and watch it from the beginning. There you go. He was sick before I went and got the liquid gold. Let's see here. But now how, because a lot of times with Parvo, well, you know what? Some I've seen throw up. And some, now that I think about it, I know dogs that have gotten Parvo didn't throw up at all. It was just the diarrhea. That would be my question is, were they throwing up also along with the diarrhea? And if they were throwing up, did the liquid gold trigger it in any kind of way? Yes, we're going to definitely watch it. Over once is done. Eric said you should do a topic on the difference between punishing and corrections. I don't think I have ever really punished a dog for anything. It was always a correction. Punishment is correction. You know, even with our kids, when we fuss at them or tell them go sit down over there for 10 minutes, that punishment is a correction. And it's instilling in them the severity of whatever it is they did. Now, if the kid is punished for 2 months or you're still mad at them, you're not getting over it, then that's when it's a punishment and it's no longer even corrective. It's not even productive. But if punishment is done correctly, it is a correction. Um, it is one of the tools of correction, I should say. Pool Bell, I have a Yorkie Poo who I took on a hunt with me. You sound like me with my sister's dog. And my bullies, and he surprised me by taking out a rabbit bigger than him by himself. I didn't even expect him to get out the truck. James, people underestimate them dogs. Yeah, Yorkies are no joke. No joke. My dog is a growler first. He only barks when he can't get to you. That's how Floyd was. I don't need a dog for protection, but he has to have heart if I own him. I don't need a dog for protection, but he has to have heart if I own him. Well, you at least need him to warn you, which is a form of protection. I don't think we need them to protect us, but we at least expect them to be willing to. And I think if we are breeders, then we should be breeding accordingly. Also, Bonnie woke me up at 4 a.m. this morning. I get her on the porch and Went to go get my gun. I feel you. I flirt my separately but spring pull together for the competition of it. I definitely see a difference when I spring pull them separately than when I spring pull them together. You know what? I used to do Floyd and Fox the spring pull at the same time, but flirt pull, it just depends on the dogs. They all see how we as people react to doorbell ring or an unexpected knock at the door. People usually act with a little more urgency compared to us walking to the fridge. Exactly. Dogs notice that urgency. Yes, it is. There's a rhythm to everything we do, and they pick up on it. I didn't see anything, but she did. But whoever it was must have changed their mind and scooted along. Let's see here. That's some little dogs or something else. Police would use the giant poodle if the maintenance wasn't so much. You know what? I never thought about that. The maintenance would get in the way. Schnauzer is a beast to be reckoned with too. Yeah, giant. I like giant schnauzers a lot, actually. I'm gonna shoot through here to see if there's any more questions, and then we are gonna wrap this one up. Schnauzer win and work. What type of vaccine do you guys give? I've only tried that Spectra 5 vaccine. You know what? What are the names of them? There's a 5-in-1. There's a 7-in-1. I don't know the name of the maker of it, and I always get them from the same feed store. That's funny though. That's a good question. I should be paying attention to it. And I know of Spectra. I'm just not sure if that's what's actually on the vaccines that I get. I was about to get a pair, then I thought I was gonna walk away from the bully world. Laugh a lot. I got sucked back in. My feed store gives the shot record book with the shots. Yeah, it's always gonna come with it. Some of them, if they come in a package, it'll come with it also. It will come in the package. But that's another thing, which is good you brought that up. If you have a feed store which sells you shots, hold on, let me switch my other earpiece. Make sure that you ask them if they have the record. In the shots, they should also have those cards, the record book with it. I drive a Dodge Scat Pack. He better notice my Pitbull belts. I use a 5-way until 12 weeks old. Then I do 5-way plus Corona, rabies, and they've had both Bordetella. Otep Kendall says Spectra, but from Atwoods. You guys actually know the names to the name brand, the brands of the shots you're using. Bad experience with the ones from feed stores. I've heard of things going bad with the shots from feed stores. The feed store I go to is pretty good. But I have heard things going bad with shots from feed stores. And a lot of times what I'm being told is it's them not refrigerating the shot soon enough. They get in an abundance. They go about their day. They don't refrigerate the shot soon enough. Next thing you know, by the time they do refrigerate it, the vaccination is no good. Let's see. King Creole said, I have to thank you so much. You suggested vitamin B complex for my dog to regain her appetite, and has worked as a treat. Can't thank. Cool, and thanks for coming in here and thanking her publicly. And again, Belinda, thanks for tuning in and joining in and assisting with things. I order cases from Revival. I get a foam cooler, extra ice packs, 2 days shipping. I appreciate the knowledge you share. No problem, Jeremiah. King Creole, you're very welcome. So glad it helped. Dom Seguenza said, depends on how old the dog is, but I have used the Spectra 10 before. Not saying thing I do. Had a friend who got a Doberman puppy. The breeder used Spectra by 12 weeks, was in liver failure, and her vet said Spectra had been bad. Wow. That's sad. Tractor Supply Company got the hookup. It's like a mall for dog people. Tractor Supply is good. I don't think I've heard of any issues from them. If you utilize a actual feed store, Tractor Supply is more worried about lawsuits and things like that than your actual feed store is. So, you know, they have a process that they deal with and set up, and they're probably not going to have as many issues. Your actual feed store, you know, if it's a mom and pop's feed store and they're not paying attention to things, you know, things can go left easy, especially when it comes to vaccinations. Found a place to get all my vaccination. I have a mini refrigerator, but you got to treat them like any other vaccination and keep checking the dates and temperatures. Yes, he was throwing up and had diarrhea before I got the liquid gold. Okay, so he was throwing up and he had the diarrhea before you got the liquid gold. And when you got the liquid gold, it was still able to hold it down, or I think that was my question without throwing up. Because sometimes you ask something new and it triggers them to throw up even more. Him being an older dog, he had a better chance of beating parvo, period, but anything that can make it easier is helpful. Dom said pups and adults get same type of vaccine. Yes, once they become adults, so that's when you usually are going to add rabies. Here in California, we do rabies at 6 months old, and then I think it's Bordetella and rabies once a year from that point on. But they are the same shot. There's not like a shot designed for a puppy, and that's why when you get like your 5-in-1, which puppies get, um, it's the same one as always. For the everyday dog owner, it is probably better and easier to go to a vet and get. I would suggest just going to your vet. If you've never done it before, just go ahead and go to your vet. All you wanted to do was sleep. If I need a single shot, I get from my feed store. She actually started getting them from Revival. She has a refrigerator, and I know she does what she's supposed to do. There you go. And that's the best thing. Question them, ask them, talk to the owners of the feed store. And the employees working there. Dom, yes, she is the same shots. All right, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and log out. We've been on here for 2 hours and 23 minutes. I want to thank y'all for tuning in as normal. Trying to get something going for next week. We'll see how that works out. But I'll tap back in with you guys. Thanks for joining in on Dog Talk Tuesday.